Hey everybody, I'm Creed and this is Creed's Other Art, episode 6. Today what I'm working on is The Question. Now for this one we need a little bit of history. Why DC's continuity is so messed up is because it's sort of a snowball. It started as national publications, and over time it bought a lot of little companies and melded their characters into one universe. So that's why there's a lot of continuity issues here and there. One of the companies they bought and absorbed was called Charlton Comics. Charlton Comics operated from 1945 to 1986. And actually they themselves collected a few other companies. They bought out Superior Comics, Mainline Publications, St. John Publications, and Fawcett Comics. And their major characters were Captain Atom, The Question, and Blue Beetle, but there was a lot of other ones actually that got, and they're all absorbed into DC right now. The company actually started off a few really big names in comics. Famous Batman artist Jim Aparo started with them. Denny O'Neil started as a writer, and he's famous for basically being a Batman editor. And he actually wrote DC's Question series that they had later on. Also, Joe Staton ran a series called E-Man, which was pretty good. And John Byrne. John Byrne did a series called Doomsday Plus One, and I read it, and I didn't realize it was John Byrne until I saw his name in the credits. And then I looked closely at the art, and it does have some John Byrne in there, but it's really early before he completely come up with his style. So it's really interesting. Charlton Comics are excellent, and if you ever get a chance to pick up any, or if there's any collected volumes out there, I would get them if I was you. Charlton's big star was Steve Ditko, who was the original artist for Spider-Man. He did a lot of work for Charlton, and he did a lot of work on Blue Beetle and The Question, mostly, and then a lot of other like horror and sci-fi kind of stuff. So The Question first appeared in Blue Beetle #1, that's a Charlton comic, 1967. He's basically a vigilante that fights street level crime. His mask is made of a substance called pseudoderm, and on the inside you can see there's a window he can see out, and actually a breathing mechanism is built in there. But on the other side it just looks like no face, which is gotta be imposing to any criminals he's fighting. And I love when he busts in and he's like, "The Question wants answers." And also, he has a business card, and somebody will look at it and it's blank, and then the question mark appears on it, which is really cool. He used a lot of chemistry, actually, The Question did. There's a gas in his belt that will seal the mask to his face, and it'll change the color of his clothing. So he actually only had a few appearances in Charlton Comics. And then DC absorbed him. He was really great when he appeared in Blue Beetle series for a few issues. And then they made some changes, and I wasn't super fan of what they did with him. That was Denny O'Neil wrote the series. It went from 1987 to 1990, 36 issues. And to me, it wasn't super great. They should have really went in a different direction with The Question, I think. The absolute best use for The Question I've seen, except for the early Charlton comics, would be on Justice League Unlimited, where Jeffrey Combs did his voice, famous from, Jeffrey Combs from Reanimator, The Frighteners, the 4400, a lot of great things, DS9. Jeffrey Combs is a great actor, but he did the voice of The Question on the cartoon, and he was a paranoid conspiracy nut, which fits perfectly for a superhero with no face. So if you want to see really good version of The Question, and you can't find any old Charlton comics, watch Justice League Unlimited. It's just excellent. Now, it's strange that we live in a world where most people will know what I'm talking about here, but if you've ever seen Watchmen, the movie, or the book, Watchmen was originally written for the Charlton characters, Captain Atom, Blue Beetle, The Question. So Rorschach was based on The Question. He has no face also. So yeah, just a little bit of trivia. So if there was no question, there would be no Rorschach. So I included the question here because I'm trying to show a broad range of DC, and I'm not trying to use any of the heavy hitters. I'm not using any of the Trinity in this piece that I'm working on. I wanted to represent somebody from Charlton, and I didn't want to use Blue Beetle. I want to dig deep for the characters, which I think I mostly did. And also, I already had Martian Manhunter, and he's in the Justice League too, so I didn't want to use Blue Beetle, even though Blue Beetle's one of my favorite characters. Ted Kord's Blue Beetle is one of the best characters DC ever had, and they totally botched it. And I've said before, my interest in the current DC universe died with Ted Kord. And I'm getting really close to finishing off these character faces. Actually, I have all the video already recorded of all the pieces in this project. But the thing that's slowing me down is coming up with enough to say on each video. I'm not actually a big talker, and this little short video is probably 4 days worth of talking for me. Usually if I'm going to have any facts in the video, I look those up and double check dates and stuff like that. So I jot down a few lines of things, and I'll think I have enough, and I'll read off what I had, and it turns out to be like a minute or 2 minutes. so then I have to look for some more stuff. So really the bottleneck in me making these videos is having enough to say about what's in the video. So I'm working on that one. So this is the question, and the next two character heads I have for this project are Warlord and Etrigan the Demon. And then I have a character piece that's just more than a head for Ambush Bug and Kane. And then the final piece. So there's going to be 4 more little videos and then the finished project. So we're rounding the bend. It's coming close now. So just stay tuned. I've got a lot more cool stuff coming. And don't forget to have a great day. Wow, thanks for watching all the way to the end. These links go to a couple other videos I made. And the subscription link goes to all my future videos. And I'd actually really appreciate a thumbs up or a thumbs down to let me know how you feel. And any comments or questions are more than welcome. So until my next video, take her easy.